Hey ladies, good afternoon. I got off of work for the rest of the afternoon, and I've had these messages coming in like all day long, and I've had to write them down because I have some things I really want to share with you, and just remind you of a couple things. But first I want to clear some energy because I just did my singing bowl a little bit and it was just really felt really good. So here you go. Let's go. Ready? Just take a deep breath in. Have your feet on the floor. Hi, Sarah. Good afternoon. I got off work early, so I'm like, let's clear some energy. And I love my singing bowl. Just like a minute. And I even think of it like coming from my crown to my third eye, to my throat, to my heart, to my solar plexus, to my sacral, and my root. And then just kind of pushing all that down. Okay, I feel better now. So, how was your week? I want to know. Are you excited for the weekend? My boss or my trainer gave us the weekend or the afternoon off. So I'm super grateful, so grateful for that. And now I have some things to share with you that I have not stopped thinking about all day. You know how it goes, right, you guys? You get downloads and then you're like, I gotta tell people this. Okay, so let's get to it. All right, our purpose. We've been talking about our purpose, right? And so today I was like, a day to day, because I'm also about, our mindset. We need to pay attention to what we are thinking about in the moment all the time. So when I remember when I was so focused on what's my purpose? What's my purpose? I just couldn't, and everyone is kind of like that. They want to know what it is that they're here to do. And we know what we're here to do. So you already have that, right? And that is to raise the vibration of the planet. That is all our purposes. But then number 2 is how you're going to do that, right? And so when you are going through your day or when you're starting jobs and you're like, this has nothing to do with my purpose or my passion. So we're going to talk about that a little bit too, because your job or what you get do for money, and then a passion or your purpose, you can do your purpose no matter where you're at. You can be the light no matter where you're at. And matter of fact, I believe that the universe, God, whoever it is that whoever it is that you believe in, places us exactly in the places that we are needed. And we are always exactly where we should be. That's my belief, okay? That even though some days I'm like, I wish I was doing this thing instead of this and and I've really had a hard time with balancing work and then my coach, I've had to kind of intertwine it. And so some of the ladies from my training class are in the group now because this isn't just a job. This is my work. This is my life. And I'm going to tell you how I figured that out, right? How I got to this place. That's really what this video is about, you should not be focusing on what your purpose is. Okay. You already know what that is. You already know that you're here to light up, to raise the vibration of the planet and give others permission to do the same thing, right? That is your purpose. That's what we're all here as light workers doing. But then that how comes in. So then how do you figure out the how? So for me personally, the way that I found it was by not looking for it. Okay. So we're not going to look I started to go about my day. I took it day by day. And the one thing that I paid attention to was my thoughts, my how I felt, my emotions, where I was vibrating, where was my vibration frequency, where was it at every day. Okay. And anytime I found myself being pissed off or frustrated or whatever, or confused or just, disconnected, and my ego was coming in pretty strongly, coming from fear, I would do a little ritual thing to come back to love every single day. So 3 things was, 1, I focused on how I felt every day. Instead of being like, I need to be doing this, and the goals that we set, like the path never looks exactly how we want it. Like if you would have been told me that I would be a travel guide right now for RC, like, I would not have believed you. Like, I'd be like, no, that's not anywhere near that's not my thing. But there's a lot more that goes into that. And then 2, so I focus on my feelings. And then by that, I started focusing on my thoughts of like, okay, what is it? Because if I got in low vibes, which that's what we learn in here, right? You guys have the vibrational scale. I posted it the other day. It's underneath the files or whatever. I'll make sure it is if it's not. Or go to my website, and I have like a whole section there that I'm organizing for you to go to. It's the Soul Relaunch Academy. I don't know if I'm going to keep Academy. I kind of like the Soul Relaunch School. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But I really want to organize all this content I've created over the last, over 2 years. I have so much, and I'm just, I just like sharing my truth. That's all I've been doing. And now everyone's like, you need to organize it. So number 2, okay, there are 3 things. So 1, I focused on how I felt every day. So if I was not feeling like my vibe wasn't up here, I would figure out how to do that. And one of the best ways that I did it was by using, or one of the ways I like to do it was using these affirmation cards that I've pulled for you guys many times. I'll pull one at the end of this. But these are just affirmations to bring you back to love every single time, okay? So that's the first thing that I did. And the second thing was that I detached from the outcome. I detached from having any attachment to the end goal, okay? And by doing that, the pressure was off. All right, because this is what happens, and why we should not be focusing on what our purpose is, or that's not the intention, right? It's because when we have an underlying intention, right? An underlying like, oh, I want this thing, I have to find out what this thing is, then we have an expectation. Okay? Same when you go into like a meditation, or when you go into a class, or you buy a course. Here's a perfect one, right? So when I buy a course, or I invest in a coach or a person or whatever, I'm expecting, like, especially if I have like high expectations. This has happened to me so much, to where I had these expectations that were not their responsibility, by the way. But at the time, that's where my level of awareness was. And so I had these expectations, and then the first thing, because I also self-sabotaged, so the first thing that wouldn't go right, I would be like, okay, well then I just don't need to be doing this. And then I would try to find all these other reasons why I shouldn't do the thing, or why it was bad to invest in the course, or why this coach wasn't, whatever. I blamed whatever it was that I thought was to blame for why I wasn't getting my expectations met. Yeah. And we do that as humans. That's what we do. Self-sabotage is a human tendency. I mean, that's just what we do. We have an ego. We're going to self-sabotage, and we're humans. We're souls in human bodies, I believe, but we're trying to learn how to live on earth. Okay? And so that is where that's what the detachment comes in, of like, when we have an expectation, we are expecting a certain outcome. And if that doesn't happen exactly like what we want, then we get low vibes. And what are we trying to do every day? Like, we're trying to stay out of the low vibrations of operating from that, okay? There's a time for healing work. There's a time to cry and let go and have cathartic releases, which, like, FYI, that's what we do in the sessions that I have. That's what energy healing and energy work is for, is to allow you that space to let go and heal whatever it is that needs healed, right? In that moment. But otherwise, showing up in your day from a place of love and higher vibrations, not like happy-go-lucky, not like positive Polly. Like I say that all the time. Like, it's not that. Like, we're not here to be like, oh my God, everything's so great, and nobody has anything wrong with them, and everything is going to be just wonderful. Like, we're not even, that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being genuine and being real, and not trying to impress anyone, and not trying to seek acceptance, like you're just you. That's really what it is. It's just a step into your most authentic self, right? And so that's the second thing that I really did. And again, I was going with the chakras, right? I was working on my root, the sacral, solar plexus. I did all that work. And every time though, I would notice that I was feeling out of, something was wrong. I was tuning into my intuition, right? That's how we know. Our body tells us what's going on. And so I detached from the outcome. And then number 3 is that I stayed curious. I stayed curious. I wasn't ever like, so for example, if I would get rejected from like, a client or something, a potential client that I would speak to on the phone, and then eventually they wouldn't be, they wouldn't work with me. I had to stop taking that personally. Okay. So I guess I should have added that one in, is that I stopped taking things personally. That was huge. So huge. That was one of the biggest things that I did. And then I stayed curious of like, okay, so, every time I got rejected, I'd be like, so why? What happened? What's the feedback? Feedback. You want feedback. There is no failure. There's only feedback. You always want, again, like emotions are information. You guys know that. Feedback rejection is feedback. It's feedback. Failure is not exist in my world, right? Same thing with competition. That does not exist. And so the reason you should not be looking for your purpose is because you already know your purpose. You're just trying to figure out the vehicle, right? And the medium, the way that you're going to do that. And if you are here and if you're watching this and if you're in this group and you are engaged and you participate, you're already doing it, right? You are an example for everyone around you that it's possible to change your life. It's possible to take control of your life experience. It's possible to wake up and it's possible to create new, better aligned beliefs that are going to help you stay in your power. By the way, if you haven't done work around taking your power back, which is like a prerequisite really to even like do any of this work. Actually, I wouldn't say prerequisite. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier if you do take your power back before, like if you start to take and this is how you can do it really quickly. Ready? So most of us are operating on low power levels, right? So why? Because we give our power away. And I know I'm kind of talking about 2 different things here. I'm talking about why you shouldn't be looking for your purpose, and then what you should do before you even, that's really going to amplify your, how you do that, right? How you light up in the world, how you light the world up around you. So, because we give our power away. So how do we do that? By allowing other people's actions and beliefs to affect us. That's giving our power away. When you're mad because of what somebody else said to you, if you get in a fight with your husband or your wife or your partner, and they make you mad somehow, like, okay, like I used, David needed to get the milk and he didn't get it. And so I was like, oh my God, I got to go get the fucking milk. Like in that moment, I gave him power over me because I got upset and threw a fit, right? And it didn't really happen, but it was just an example. Did happen probably at some point, maybe different. But it is actions and beliefs to affect us. And so by directing our energy, which is what we talk, like that's my whole thing, right? Is teaching you guys how to direct your energy. And we do that through our emotions, our energy and motion. So like, whenever somebody's giving you shit, if you give someone else shit, like you're throwing bad energy and they're throwing bad energy at you. And if you interact and that's how cords are created. I could go into a whole deep thing here, but I'm not. But by directing our energy and attention toward negative things, which I've said, the way that how a stuck or stagnant, our energy gets stuck in chakras, right? Our chakras get blocked or they get overactive. It's because we are focusing on the negative is typically how things get blocked. All right. And then overactive is, we're like, I've noticed lately, the more that I do, I didn't realize, because before I didn't have to do so much. I kind of did what I wanted. But now that I'm really super busy from like 8 a.m. to like 10 p.m., I have more energy. I mean, I feel like I'm high sometimes at night. That's why Wednesday night when we did the life purpose activation, like when I did that chakra thing, I needed it so bad because I had so much extra energy and didn't know what, I know what to do with it. But like, if you don't know what to do with it, that is what causes anxiety, and you can't go to sleep and you can't do that. So if you don't know to ground and to push the extra energy out, then you don't do it, right? And so it's by directing our energy and our attention. Focus goes where energy flows, right? Or energy flows where focus goes. And so attention toward negative things or toward other people. So your ability to live in alignment with your purpose. And if you have any questions about what that means as far as being in alignment, let me know in the comments, and then we'll go into that. But I won't right now because I don't want to be going into many different things. I already am. But alignment with your purpose will be amplified by taking your power back. So I almost want to even say that this is important to do before you start to even, like you have to do this. If you don't do this, it's going to take a long time for you to feel any type of like peace and balance and harmony in your life, and know that you're here doing exactly what you're meant to be doing, because that is an amazing feeling. So, okay, so this is the question, these two that I want you to ask yourself. So number one, whenever you want to know if like you're giving your power away, ask this question. Who or what do I blame for any negative situations right now? Like, who are you blaming right now? Every day I blame David for a lot of stuff. And then I'll stop myself and be like, okay, I gotta take the responsibility. I'm choosing to be here, right? I'm choosing to stay in this relationship, right? So I can't blame him for pissing me off anymore, because I kind of deserve it, if I'm going to choose to stay here. And so yeah, ask that. So what is it? Who are you blaming? And I would even go into the wheel of life that I posted earlier. I'll post it again, but there's a wheel of life, and like go around to all of the different things and be like, okay, what am I blaming here? What am I blaming here? And it's going to tell you so much. This is actually something that I started to do in some coaching sessions at the beginning, to just get that out of the way. Like, let's just call our power back now. Like, who are you blaming? Whose fault is it that you're not doing what you want to do? And this is a big thing too with like toxic relationships. I've even stopped calling them that. I've stopped saying that because of this person, I can't do this. I stopped like it. I have to, that's how I know I'm giving my power away. So ask yourself that question, and even like write it in your journal and stuff. I have this template. If you want it, I can post it, but it's like, what do you blame? So what do I blame for any negative situation? And then number two, you're going to ask, in what way do I feel pressure to achieve and to please somebody, right? So how much, like, we're moms and dads, like Thomas, you're on here, and dads, we're parents. We feel a shit ton of pressure all the time, right? Our kids have our power, or we definitely give our power away to our kids. And actually, Amber Thomas asked that question in another post or live I did, about how do we do this with our kids? This is so tricky, guys. Like, ladies and, Thomas, like, this is difficult. This is the only part right here where I give Izzy a ton of power because I want her to have it, right? We want our kids to have our power. So it is that right there is, okay, here's a good example. So when Avon was mad at me, that's my son, he's 18 now, but we got into a fight a couple of years ago, and he moved out to his dad's, and it was a big old crazy mess. He hated me. And I remember doing a live, like, cause I was depressed. I felt like a shitty mom, right? I felt horrible. Like I failed my son. And then I started working with with an intuitive coach. This was around the time, right? Like, this was like 6 months before my dad, died. So actually I forgot about this one actually, that I talked to a couple times when my son left. Because I just don't like, therapy isn't bad or anything, but I just like to have forward moving things with momentum. Like, what's going to help me get past this, and what can I do after that to move forward? So I worked with her for a couple times, and what I found was, like, when we have that situation, when we don't have boundaries, even with our kids, example, Avon's dad is 40 and he's never gotten up going because his mom has always been there, bought him a house, 7 years ago. He's went to jail and she gets him out, right? And there's just she can't, because it's her child. And so this was how I could see in the future of like this pattern playing out with Avon of like, oh my God, he's going to end up not doing anything with his life because I allowed him to have that power over me. And so I had to do something really hard But I had to set that boundary, and I had to have distance between me and my son. And I had to take my power back of like, even though I'm your mother, okay? And yes, you know, you can blame me for some things. You're not going to blame me for you smoking pot in our house when we told you not to, right? And he got kicked out from school. And so there were just things I had to be like, okay, he took his responsibility. I took responsibility for my reactions and what I said. And then we took some time apart or whatever. And now we are in the best place we've ever been. So that little story right there that I told was to tell you guys like boundaries. And even it can happen with our kids as well, but we have to stand our ground, right? And so taking your power back is standing your ground. That's what we're doing. And then on this paper, I'll post it here in this just so you can see it, but there's like percentages. Okay. So what percentage of my energy goes to pleasing my family, pleasing others, you know, the people pleasers here. Okay. Recovering people pleasers. How much percentage of your energy do you give to try to please everyone else? Being pessimistic. How much time do you spend complaining and finding the reasons why you should not do something, and instead of focusing on why you should do it? Do you guys know that's been one of the most powerful tools that I've found in the last four months that I use every day? Like with this new job, I could have very easily been like, oh my gosh, now I'm not going to be able to, you know, be with the Soul Relaunch anytime that I want. Now I have to balance my time, and I could have went down a hole of pessimism and complaining, but I didn't. I went the other way, and it's been crazy. It's been amazing. This experience my life, I just love it because I don't focus on what's not going well, right? I focus on what's going well, and then I fix what's not going well, and I stop the patterns. And so then another one is thinking about resentment. Like, how much of your time are you spending thinking about what you resent, what decisions you wish you hadn't made? Like, how much time, you know, that's energy, you guys. Thoughts are energy. Like, it's makes you tired, really, if you think about all that. There's a lot of stuff going on with all three of my kids right now. I'm feeling like a crappy dad. Oh, okay. So that might be why I went into this, Thomas, honestly, because I wasn't planning on any of this. Just FYI. So maybe that's why I could feel it or something. I'm feeling like crappy dad. Okay. Because I feel like I can't help them like I want to. Okay. Well, how do you want to? What does that mean? Right? Like I want to. Well, how do you want to? That's where you would start of, what does that look like? And that's what every time I can't figure something out, I go to my verbiage. Like, how am I saying things? So like, you know, you say, I can't help them like, I feel like I can't help them like I want to. So how do you want to? And why do you feel like you can't? Right? Instead of just being like, I'm hopeless and I can't do anything. Well, you can. It starts by taking your power back, first of all, from our kids. Okay, Darla, craziness that you just popped on. Not a coincidence. It's called a synchronicity. It's called a divine timing, because Darla, we all need to hear this, it's okay to take power back from our kids. We have to. Do you know what that's showing them? Okay, when we don't have boundaries, or when we don't stand in our truth, that's showing our kids, especially the women, the daughters, right? I'm not to say boys don't need it too, but with ladies and daughters and girls, like with the way the world is, like we have to show them what it looks like to stand in our power. So Thomas, as far as with the three kids, like first see where you're giving, where are you allowing them to have power over you, and why are you allowing them to make you feel so crappy, right? Like I was allowing Avon to make me feel like a shitty mom because I disciplined him. And he didn't like it. And so he moved with his dad. And then I felt like a crappy mom because I'm like, oh my God, my son moved out. But then at the end of the day, I stood my ground and I was like, you are not going to smoke pot in my house when you're 15. Okay. Was laughing as soon as I got, yeah, Darla, like we have a thing, right? I mean, I told Thomas, I'm like, I was not planning on going into any of this, but this is what channeling's about. This is what intuition's about, right? So I love that happened, because I was actually going to say something about you guys watching like observing your situations today to see what they're telling you or like conversations you just happen to stumble into or lives you stumble into like this one. You are always exactly where you're supposed to be. Always, right? Always. And so if you know that, then you can feel better. So Thomas, I hope that, like we can talk more about this. You do have that one free hour. By the way, I fixed my link because I guess the link wasn't like the spots weren't coming up, is what I got from a couple people. So I fixed it. And so now if you were trying to schedule one-on-one, your free one-on-one, then, I apologize. I'll put the link at the bottom so you guys can do it again. But do you have any questions about that, or like about as far as like what I mean by taking your power back first, you guys, before you even start to step into this or expecting? What you want to do is you want to attract your thing. You want to attract your dharma. You want to attract the people you're supposed to help, right? You attract also opportunities. And so to do that, we have to pay attention to what we're feeling. And so that's why I mean, instead of focusing and setting the intention of like, I want to find my purpose. What am I here for? You know what you're here for. Now you just need to figure out how to do it. Here's an example. And Thomas, you just came to my head because of with the book thing, right? So wanting to write a book, or even that, like the first thing that comes up in your mind when someone asks you, what is it you want to do? Or Sarah, you starting a blog, right? Last year, you really wanted to write. You wanted to do something with Pinterest and writing. Those are not in your head on accident. Okay. Tell me how it feels, Sarah, when you thought about starting a blog, like back when we first started talking. Right? When you thought about writing and you weren't, and she's a nurse, so she's working, I think I don't remember where you're working at the time, but she's like, I just want to write, I want to have a blog and I want to make money at home and I want to do this. And so it lit her up, right? That is excited her. That is how your intuition talks to you. And it's exciting, right? When you get excited about things. And I know sometimes, especially if you get instant gratification, if you're just like a normal human being, okay, we get really excited about new things, especially okay, the feeling you get when you go shopping and you haven't been shopping in a while, and let's say you have like $1,000 and you can go on a shopping spree. Like, think about how high your vibration would be, right? Think about how happy, that's how I think of like, okay, that's what I want to feel like what do I need to do to feel that way? Well, when you stumble upon things that make you feel that way, or make you excited and make you, curious and want to know more, that's your medium. That's how you're going to do your purpose, how you're going to light the world up, how you're going to help everyone around you raise their vibration. That's how you're going to do it. And so through a book, like I started to say, like Thomas, we mapped out his plan to write a book. There was a reason for that. Because his words, all the things that he's learned, he, write that book. And then maybe he starts a Facebook group. And then the people that have read the book comes in. And then he starts talking, all these different connections. I mean, I can't tell you guys how many soul connections I've made in the last, speaking of soul connections, there's Kay. Hi, Kay. She was a soul connection. Darla was. Okay, I went to school with Sarah. Thomas, I met him through Amber. You guys were all soul connections as well, but I honestly don't remember how I felt. Okay, so you were, okay, well then, think about, I can tell you how you felt because I remember. Well, you were excited, but you were hesitant. There was fear that came up because it wasn't normal for you. I remember you telling me that it's just not normal. You're a nurse. You're not a writer, right? Everybody thought you'd be a nurse. So, I can tell you if you forget completely how you felt. Yes, Kay, I'm so happy that you caught me live. I just jumped on here because I had this message that all day long was just like, tell them this. And it's about not focusing on what your purpose is and instead feeling good every day. Okay, like that, just having that intention, I will feel good today. And then you do whatever it is you need to do to feel good. And then what happens as you do that and you condition your vibration frequency or your scale, right, to be at that higher, that elevated vibration to where you just don't allow, you let go, you know, you start the let going process and to clear out those cords that you have, the good ones that lift us up, that I couldn't believe, but my mentor, my intuitive coach, Megan, she's on here. She taught me that, like, I wasn't teaching, but she just helped me like remember of like, we don't always have to cut cords. Like we can nurture them and clear them out and then, you know, put filters in them for energetic boundaries. Right. And so keep that in mind. That also, when she told me that, I felt a lot of resistance go away. Because of, you know, in relationships, right? Like even with David or even with my son, like, oh my gosh, they're not lifting me up. Do I have to cut the cord? I can't do that with my son. Saint Darla and we were talking about this, you know, the other day, like we can't cut those cords. So what we do is we clear them and we do what we can on our end. We take our power back and we send healing, love, and light to them and pray for them and support them, but don't expect them to do anything, right? Those expectations, that word is like evil. Like seriously, because that's how we get disappointed, right? And so instead of having expectations, having standards. So anyway, this was just supposed to be about, you know, you paying attention to how you feel every day over being like, you know, feeling like you're not of purpose, because you are of purpose. You're of use every day. But it's just, you know, as you are finding it, because me having this group and going live and doing all that every day I did not plan this at all. Like it was just a thing that I did because I felt this little thing like, Kay, with starting the business. I don't know how we haven't connected about that, but like you doing that, you want to start your own business because you know you have such amazing things to offer when it comes to, you know, to accounting, right? Because you've been doing it for so long. But that is the next, like you just have that call. And so for anyone who is just still confused of like how they're supposed to bring about that, like how are they supposed to work with, well, Darla, you come to mind now of like needing to be a part of something. And if you're not, then you feel like you're not useful. That is what with her, like, that's just the type of, and it's because that's part of that's part of it right there. Darla knows that, and then that's not true at all. Okay. But I just want to say that like her just thinking that, like, that is the end. That's like the end result. Like she knows that she is going to be a part of something huge, something that is impactful and something that's going to change the world. She knows that. But now we're just trying to figure out, you know, the steps. And the only way you can do that is by feeling good every day. And then it comes to you. Okay? So one, focus on how you feel every day. Okay? And focus on your thoughts. Tune in every morning like we have been since the beginning of the year. We've done it consistently of like checking in with how we think in the morning, where our thoughts are going. If they're not going the right way, then we shift them to, okay, what am I doing good? What am I doing well? What am I proud of it for myself? What is going well in my life? And then what will happen is it just starts to go well. Things start to go really, really well. And even if they don't go well, you find a way to still feel okay. So you still feel good. Do you see that, like how it happens? Like you still feel good no matter if you're not getting what you want. And here's what it is. You detach from anything outside of you making you happy or not, right? Like you have to find your purpose to be happy. No, you know your purpose. Now it's just listening and following what lights you up, right? Like Thomas, you were doing it that last week and you said, I feel better just because, and it's disconnecting from other people's opinions, disconnecting from their judgments, all of that, disconnecting from their expectations. Other people's expectations have nothing to do with you. Did you guys know that? Has nothing to do with you whatsoever. What other people expect of you, even your boss, even if your boss gets mad at you because, you know, I don't know, whatever, you did something, but not the way they wanted you to, that has nothing to do with you. maybe we just don't, we don't align. We're not good to work with, whatever. I don't know. But stop taking things personally. That is going to be a huge. So one, stay focused on how you feel. Two, detach from, don't stop taking things personally. It's not about you. And then three, just stay curious about everything. Okay. You have to be happy to find your purpose. Absolutely. Yes, I guess I wouldn't say even, maybe not. Yes, happy, absolutely. But I think why I was like urged to get on here and say this is because I think then when people are unhappy, they feel like they're like failing, like, oh my gosh, I'm unhappy. I don't feel good right now. Like I am not, like you get really frustrated. That's what the resistance. That's what I'm trying to get rid of, is that, you feeling like you have to be a certain way in order to. No, it's just about you feeling good. That's it. And that's really the purpose in the beginning. And it still is. It's the purpose our whole life. It should be that we're here to feel good. We're here to step into our light and to do all that, right? Instead of so I think it's just, I wanted to help people with their focus. I wanted to I don't know, whatever comes of this. And we talked about disconnecting from our kids, detaching from our kids. So let me know if you have any other questions, but about this, as far as don't make it a big deal. Don't make this huge deal over finding something. Because first of all, you're remembering it. It never went away. You are here for the same purpose, but we all have the same, we all have our unique way of doing it. And even when you talk to just random people at the gas station, you are living in your light. If you're living in your light and you're living, for your higher self, for whatever your higher power is, then, it's a beautiful way to live. And so, happy equal vibes. What are you looking for?
Sour cream, onion chips, cheddar.
Oh, they're right here. Sorry, they're right here. There you go. So anyway, okay guys, I'm going to get off of here. Oh, I want to pull, does anybody want one of these affirmation cards? Let me know if you do. I'm going to leave you guys with this. I'm going to be on here Sunday night. We are doing the soul time. Okay. Oh, stop it. So let me know who wants an affirmation card. I'll go ahead and just pull all four of you that I see up there. Kay, Darla, Thomas, and Sarah. All right. So Kay, here's yours. I can do less and attract more. I can do less and attract more. This is always one of I like this one. I have to remember it a lot. If I had to tone it down. Yes, Kay, this is yours. I don't know if, maybe, I know we're so alike. and this is another thing too, that when you guys, it really gets to the point where, my frustration, I'll tell you where my frustration lies. Whenever I start to feel frustrated, it's because I have too much to say. I have too much I want to do. I think Darla, you get in the same headspace as far as there's just so much that I want to do. And this is why I have a coach. This is why I invest in a coach, you guys. This is why you have one, to provide a space of direction, but also it's almost like you are investing in someone to believe in, that believes in you when you don't believe in you. Right. And that's what I get from it, of that person that's there, that's you are capable, you are allowed, come on, knock some sense into you. Right. But, so I can do less and attract more. And these are meant to bring you back to love. Whenever you're whenever you're in that moment, and then you pull these, that's why they're really good. They're Gabrielle, the super attractor ones. I ordered another set, an energy, oracle cards. Hopefully. Okay, Darla, let me get yours. Sorry guys, but, yeah. So here we go. Darla. In stillness, I receive. In stillness, I receive. I love the artwork too. In stillness, I receive. So meditate, or just get present and just be, right? Just be. I know that's hard to do. So, okay, Thomas and Sarah, I'm going to pull for you too. If anybody else is on here and they want one, let me know. But these are good you can use this all weekend, right? all weekend you can use these. I love it. But yeah, those new ones we're going to use them Sunday night, new cards. So, all right, Thomas, I feel my way into faith one step at a time. Ooh, I like it. And it's got a bridge. And if any of these other ones resonate with you, then use these, right? So I feel my way into faith one step at a time. I love that one. All right. And then Sarah, here's yours. Let's see. What is Sarah? Oh, let's see. This one's sticking out here. Ooh, I like this. I can decide today to recalibrate my energy and commit to love and joy. That's yours, Sarah. So I can decide today to recalibrate my energy and commit to love and joy. I love it. So every day you can recalibrate your energy. That's what you're doing. Just tuning into how you feel. Okay, how do I feel? Do I need to breathe? Do I need to talk to somebody that can help me, raise up my vibe a little bit? Like, what is it that I need in this moment? And so instead of thinking, what we're not doing, I think that's the biggest thing. What I'll leave you guys with is like, let's stop focusing on what we're not doing well, and because we're not supposed to focus on those things, and let's focus on what we do bring to a situation, what we do well, what we have helped our kids with, instead of feeling like, because that's what I did with Avon. I'm like, okay, you know what? I know a lot of times we do this as like, I've done this and I've done that. You shouldn't treat me that way. But I don't mean it that way. I mean it for ourselves. Think about how you have just done the best that you can in every situation, and that's all you can do. So you're always doing the best you can, and when your kid is mad at you, yes, it sucks, but doesn't mean you have to be mad at you, right? But we think that we do. We think we deserve it when our kid's mad. We're like, oh my gosh, we deserve that. No, they can be mad at us, and we can just be patient and hold space for them, and be and not be condescending or critical or anything, right? Because we can get that way too, of like, you should be doing this. But I guess we should just have a conversation about this with kids. I think it'd actually be a good one. So, because I know this is something we all struggle with, and it doesn't help us attract things, the good things, right? And so I put my link. I redid my things weren't working. My dates weren't working when people would go in there and try to schedule, but I'm opening up 3 spots that for next weekend to do like in-person healings, or we can do virtual. I will tell you that when I do virtual like chakra work, it is almost more powerful than even though in person, like, it's always going to be the best, right? But virtual, when it comes to energy work, you can do it virtual. Because you can tap into each other's energy, and it's just really fun, and I love it. That's how I meet with my girl. We do virtual. She lives on another state, and it's powerful. So, I'll put my link at the bottom if you're interested in that. We can jump on a call just to see where you're at with like your mindfulness and where you're at with your thoughts. If you're wanting work with mindset, or if you're wanting work with like spiritual transformation stuff, energy work, like whatever it is that you need. That's what we just kind of go from your intuition of what it is that you need. So, okay. So I love you guys. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you Sunday evening. Bye.